Welcome to the Dave Palma Show, the podcast that revives, restores, and awakens your innermost capabilities.
You have the training and the talent to succeed, but do you have the guts to fail?
I love what I do. When you love what you do, you want to be the best at it.
Today is about the power of you. You will change the world.
Find your path to success through the journey of those who have succeeded. And now, your host, Dave Palma.
Hi, welcome back to the Dave Palma Show. Today, I have with me someone who's been recognized as one of the top 25 most powerful Latinas by People in Español and named one of the top 6 Latinas You Should Know by Latina Magazine. She's a bilingual certified life coach, Latina model, and was co-host on the talk show Face the Truth, produced by Dr. Phil McGraw. Rosie also guest host and is a correspondent on leading Spanish language networks, Telemundo and Univision, as well as on the Dr. Phil Show and The Doctors. Rosie Mercado, welcome to the Dave Palma Show.
Hey, Dave. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be able to talk to another life coach.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like a journey similar to yours where, I left my profession, had some self-esteem issues probably from bullying as well, but I actually, managed to overcome it, but had cycles of it. So I just want to hear your story because you actually just launching a book. I think, is it going to be released tomorrow, October the 13th?
It was released on October the 13th. I'm so excited about that. And the girl with self-esteem issues, and it's in English and in Spanish. I'm so excited to be able to share my life journey and the lessons that each moment of darkness has brought me, each moment of taking personal responsibility and then learning to ask quality questions. It's just transforming my life. The inner transformation really reflects on the exterior. So there's so much. And who doesn't have self-esteem issues at some point in their life? We all go through that as human beings, being emotional beings. We all go through that, through the self-esteem issues in some aspect of our life, whether it's dealing with divorce, rejection, weight gain, weight loss, body image issues, parenting, relationships, success when it comes to business, success when it comes to our career, failures, rejection. I mean, there's so much that involves the self-esteem. And it's so important to really understand our triggers, our truths, and definitely where we are in our life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's society really that sort of prevents a lot. I mean, I was in an environment where, it's very kind of like, high masculinity environment in a lot of men, I don't know, I'm only talking for what I was around, don't talk a lot, and they could be depressed and they're not going to really talk about it to many people, so they could miss it. And things like suicide is quite high now. And also there's a stigma around it, these kind of issues, even as small as it can be, it's very common amongst people. So people should talk.
Yeah, well, people don't talk because they're afraid to walk in their authenticity. They're afraid to say what they're feeling, what they're thinking, because it's not so much of just speaking. It's the fear of rejection, the fear of criticism, the fear of what are people going to say? How are people going to react? Are people going to still love me once they find out everything that I've gone through? And I think walking in authenticity takes a lot of courage and strength, and sharing your story. There's power in that. But sometimes we're just afraid. We don't know what to do next, or we're so deep in our sadness and depression that we absolutely need help, and we're even afraid to ask for help because sometimes you're conditioned that you have to sound strong. You don't ask for help, or why did you do that? And the criticism, like, again, really, you're going through that again, or you allowed that again, instead of just being an ear to listen and to have compassion and understanding and be there, be present.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in various ways. I mean, obviously, bullying was something I went through and overcome and dealt with. But obviously, whether you can handle bullies or not, it still can have a profound effect on your confidence and self-esteem as well. So,
Dave, at such a young age, I went through bullying. I mean, started at about 8 or 9. I mean, such a young age that I started dealing with that. First of all, for being Latina, because of my ethnic background, looking different. And then second of all, because of the size of my hips. Yeah, the size of my hips, the way my body was structured, and the mean names kids could call you. And some of those moments I didn't share with my parents. I was embarrassed to share. I didn't want to worry them. So I internalized a lot of that. And because I internalized, I didn't fit in. I felt fat. I felt ugly. I felt unworthy. I felt invisible. I felt like I just didn't belong anymore. And I became very lonesome in school. Growing up and going through high school and middle school, I just constantly felt like I was by myself, and I just feel like I never really fit in. And those moments took me to find my passion. I'm so grateful that my parents never judged me for my passions. They pushed me forward. If I wanted to paint, I painted. If I wanted to dance, I danced. But finding my voice in radio, that for me was such an amazing moment for me to find my voice, because it was just a mic. It was me and a mic and people listening. Yeah. Nobody saw me. And I was like, wow, I found my voice. So finding that for me at a young age was really important.
Yeah. Wow. Fantastic. Well, let's go into your young age a bit, because obviously your story started, as I said, I've read parts of your book, and obviously, even with family wise, you had to move, they lost everything and things like that. Which part of the Latin American are your parents from?
Mexico.
Mexico. Okay, just on the border. Yeah. So
Mexico.
So you was in California. You was actually born and raised in California, I understand. Is that right?
Yes, I was born in Torrance, California, raised in Riverside, and then from there, the construction market crashed for my father. And as an entrepreneurial spirit that he is, he just got up and looked for a new way to start growing, to start, to keep us, to feed us, to find a way. And
what was that like going through that? I mean, obviously, I went through certain things when I was young, it wasn't easy sometimes. So seeing their parents obviously going through that hardship, what was it like?
Going through the hardship for me, I remember not having the furniture. I remember sleeping on the floor, but it wasn't, there was never a sense of we don't have, or scarcity, or we're poor. There was never that. My parents did such a great job that they didn't instill scarcity in us. When it came to economics, I knew that we didn't have furniture, and I know that my parents were building, but we had an apartment. It was a humble apartment, and we slept on the floor, and we went to school, and my parents did what they, the best that they could at that time. And all I could remember is the work ethic. That's what was instilled in me. The work ethic of, you start from the bottom, you work your way up, and you work hard, and you knock on doors, and you're humble, and you connect. And that work ethic was instilled in me at such a young age that was what I was focused on. And that helped me find my passion and just grow from there.
Yeah. Wow. Well, one of the things I got a sense of when you're describing that area in your book about having to move to Las Vegas, and your parents lost you lost everything, including the house, and and obviously looking at the dedication to your parents, almost the first thing you did was to sort of citing the entrepreneurship of your father. Do you think that mindset was always in him, that he knew he had that drive to keep going on and that entrepreneurial spirit? And do you think he gave that to you, passed it on to you? Because no matter what you went through, something that was there for you to drive on, to do something.
My dad is such a powerful man. I'm so thankful for my parents. And I had such a great childhood growing up when it comes to love, unconditional love and support, and just constant acknowledging and pushing forward. I have to acknowledge that my dad has been such a huge role model, although I didn't understand it all the time. And sometimes I rejected it and rebelled against it, as any teenager sometimes does against their parents. I think my dad told me so many times, it's okay to cry, but get up. You could cry along the way, find an answer, knock on doors, look for a new way, fight for your life. Your voice matters. Hearing that so many times, going through 3 different divorces and falling down, finding myself falling into depression. And my dad's always having a hand of get up, get going, do something. Don't just stay there. Feel what you're feeling, but don't stay there. Start walking, start finding, start knocking on doors. And him constantly telling me that my voice mattered and that there was a purpose in my life, and hearing that really empowered me. And then seeing that he never focused on what he didn't have. My dad always focused on creating more, making sure that his family was taken care of, and contribution. I just remember that contribution was such a big part of my family's lifestyle. And with my mom, she instilled faith in me. You need help, ask for it. You don't have anybody to ask God. The universe is listening. Say, help me. It's as simple as that. And having that faith. So they played such a huge role. And entrepreneurial, I mean, they woke up at 4:30 in the morning, they hustled, they worked together. Seeing that growing up was so important. The work ethic, the dedication, the compassion to understanding leadership. And my dad always educated himself. He was always reading, listening to tapes. Tony Robbins was a huge figure in my dad's life. And in actual fact, he actually featured in your life later on in life, but we will go into that in a minute, because just further on, let's fast forward a little bit now to, I think, your teenage.
just forming relationships now. You left your father's house, and some of those didn't go well. And obviously, there was one where you first got pregnant and things, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think also, I think the emotional eating and stuff like that, obviously, the stress of it, everything.
The emotional eating really came from not knowing how to deal with my own emotions, my own depression, my own negativity, falling to a victim. 3 marriages, I'm the victim. The weight gain, I'm the victim. Failed business, I'm the victim. Having that victim mode and not understanding how to deal with my emotions. So I would eat. I would run to food and I would eat. And then I would go into the cycle of I would eat and then really feel really depressed and be angry at myself and criticize myself. I was my own worst critic and my own bully. Like I took in everybody's story and made it my truth, and then I wallowed in it. But just relationships, the lesson that it's taught me is that the most important relationship is the one that you have with yourself. That's going to be with you the rest of your life.
Yes.
And there's seasons. Relationships are seasonal. People walk in, people leave in a good way, people leave in a bad way. Sometimes you leave people. But you set precedents on how you treat yourself, and that shows other people how to treat you. And having self-love and respect is really important for boundaries.
It's really, really important because when you think about it, I mean, I'm a little bit older than you, but you think about your whole life and all the relationships you've had, and you don't really see those relationships anymore. But when you think about everything you've done and what maybe, when you look at the self-talk to yourself and everything else, you see that relationship, and that's how you can grow and improve. You see the self-talk. Everybody has that negative voice. Everybody. I mean, even in your best moments in life, you're about to you've accomplished something. I'm on the stage, and then it's really you're here. You're really here. You think you're gonna fail. You're gonna fall down. Something, that negative voice starts popping up, and you have to be able to, first of all, to acknowledge that it's there. Don't suppress it. Acknowledge that it's there. Then give it direction. It's like, you know what? Sometimes I've been like, shut up. It's as simple as that. Shut up. I'm the one that's in control. I'm going to speak life into my present. I am worthy of this. I've worked hard for this. And you know what? This is not about me. It's about how I get served. You know what? I'm going to give it 100% and I'm going to create success for myself because I'm worthy. I'm lovable. I'm capable. I have everything that I need. Speaking life and changing that inner dialogue is so important, but you must acknowledge that there is inner dialogue going on. If you suppress it, it will manifest in other ways. Negative relationships, weight gain, it manifests in so many other ways. Well, I mean, everyone has got some sort of way they want to cope that isn't healthy. So, it could be, it might not be food. It might be drugs and alcohol. It might be
sex.
I don't know. Even that. Shopping, buying stuff.
Oh my God, shopping addiction. Hello, I went through that. You
gambling
in different ways. Yes. But the thing is, if you could acknowledge that's a reality that so many people are living now. If you could acknowledge that you are going through that and that is a trigger and that's the way that you're reacting to a certain situation, then you have the opportunity to change it. Yes, you're in control of your own emotion. That's the only thing you're in control of, your emotions and your actions. That's the only thing. You can control others. You can't control others' reactions. You can't control other people's stories. You can declare who you are. You can control your emotion. You can change your state in an instant. And you can become victorious by doing the inner healing. The body follows what the mind thinks. Yeah,
exactly. Well, as I said, you've had many moments, and obviously relationships was one of those. And then your first time you got pregnant, you got treated quite badly, really. Looking at what was happening, I wasn't there, but it seemed that way. But
he
however,
disappeared. Oh my God, we love someone so much.
These things happen, but
these things happen.
I mean, I'm a guy, and I know what amongst guys. When I was younger, what happens? You hear these stories, and I've also got a sister, and I know things she tells me amongst her sister. Her girlfriends, friends that she's had, and so there's both sides. Obviously, when people get older, they look back and think, oh, maybe I shouldn't have, maybe that's something I shouldn't have gone in that relationship, or maybe I've done that wrong to that girl. And
what was I thinking? What did I do?
Exactly.
I mean, I was crying over that.
Is there a relationship with the father now and your child, or you're not in touch with him?
Nope, no relationship with anybody from my past. No relationship whatsoever. Right. I think in life you have an opportunity whether to keep toxic relationships around or just make the decision of saying, you know what, this just doesn't serve me, doesn't serve my child. Exactly, and in the moment that my kids grow up, if one day they want to know what, you know, something about their past, and that'll be their own personal journey and personal decision that I will respect. I think it's about being honest and respecting that. Well,
no, it's pretty, I mean, it's like, if a relationship's not going well, you've got kids around, they're going to pick up on that bad environment, toxic environment, or even if you're still having that relationship and you're not together anymore. Yeah. So let them grow up in an environment where they're going to be shaped for the future. And then it's up to them when they're old enough to decide and go on and move on their own lives.
And at the end of the day, if someone wants to be there, they will be there.
Yeah.
That's just, that's what it comes down to. Actions speak louder than words. When someone really loves someone, when someone really wants to be there for you, they will be there regardless. And, you know, but it's life, and you know, life isn't perfect. There's ups and we celebrate them, and there's downs and we learn from them. And if we can understand that, we're going to have quality life. Not only for us, life reflects to us who we are, and we mirror to our kids, you know, what we want them to do and how to be. And the thing is, you can't tell your kids what to do. They're paying attention to your actions. They're learning from your actions.
Yep, definitely. Absolutely. So obviously, I don't want to go into everything because I want people to buy your book or have a look at it at least somehow. But you've got an amazing story to tell about. One of the biggest things was how you gained and lost a hell of a lot of weight. And one of the funniest parts of your book, what I dipped into was obviously Tony Robbins was one of the biggest change in your life, influences. Yeah. But you was on a plane going to his thing in Fiji, and he was explaining how you changed planes to a very small one when you was, you know, plus size at that time, and was a little bit concerned. But then go on. No, carry on.
Yeah, you know, things change. I mean, getting on a small little plane, a little island hopper, I was like, oh my God, the plane's gonna fall. I was so worried about my weight because I was really heavy, and those are moments in life that present you opportunities of, you know, are you really living your life to the fullest, and how much was my weight holding me back? And it was. At my weight, I have to be honest, there was moments that at 420 pounds that I lived, there were great moments that I lived. There was moments of depression, there was moments of sadness, moments of victory. There's ups and downs throughout the journey, and it wasn't just about, okay, I lost the weight, I'm happy now. No. The weight loss does not equate to the happiness. What it equates is to the inner healing that brings on happiness, because I had quality life. I had vitality. I have energy, longevity. I was able to spend quality time with my kids. I fit in a car. I was able to have life experiences. You know, everybody, there's a certain place where you can no longer get on a bike because it just can't sustain your weight. I was able to ride a bike. The little things that people take for granted, those are things that I was not able to do. And just walking for 5-10 minutes and being covered profusely in sweat and just being extremely tired, that's just not quality life for me. You know, quality life is different for everybody, but that was not for me. And what was I teaching my kids? So having that experience in Fiji really opened up my eyes to self-care, health, not dieting. I dieted most of my life, and I was a hot mess with that, up and down. And it just really taught me, how am I going to create happiness in my life and that inner peace? And I think that's what we're all searching for. We're all searching for that. And
it really is important to get that mindset right first anyway, before you deal with all the other stuff, because otherwise, I mean, it's like, I know I told you I'm also a life coach on a meditation app, one of the number one ones, and sleep and stress management is very important. If you're going to go on a diet, you're not sleeping properly, you're not dealing with your stress, it's not really going to work, you know. So dealing with the mindset is important.
I think the mindset, and then taking the word diet out of it. Oh my, diet.
Think of another.
Oh my God. If you guys could learn anything from that, the word diet is just a moment that's going to take you in the wrong direction. It could work for only so long. And then it's really about going to the core issues and understanding, why am I doing what I'm doing? And what does this mean to me? And what does my health mean? Like, what does that represent? And why? The why is so important to keep going in the right direction.
Exactly. It's a good question. Some people get stuck with that, but they'll eventually fill out that why and start moving on. So that was one transformation and one major point, going to that Tony Robbins seminar in Fiji. The other thing was you had a personal trainer that changed your life as well. So what happened there?
Justin Blum was amazing. You know what? He never criticized me. He's like, Rosie, get that big butt, move and go. Just go. He would push me. And if I didn't know how to do a burpee, doesn't matter. You're going to work out. If you can't do something, figure out a different way to do it. What did that teach me? Failure. The story that I gave failure. If something doesn't work, figure it out. Change the action. Change it. You can still create success for you. This isn't working. Change the action. Failure is not a bad thing. And when I couldn't do some of the exercises because I was 420 pounds, like getting up literally quickly to do a burpee just wasn't in my physical being right away. I had to build to that strength. I had to build to that journey. And he was just someone that always spoke life into me, who pushed me when I thought that I could no longer, I didn't have the strength to run. You know, I could never push that one push up, that extra push up. He says, push, you're doing it for yourself. Keep going, believe in yourself. And he's like, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. And it's that inner voice. That's what we have to feed ourselves. When you feel like I'm about to give up, take a moment to breathe and keep taking action. Take a moment to breathe and keep moving forward. Don't one foot in front of the other. It's about action, taking baby steps. And if something doesn't work, think of a new action.
He's just putting you on a journey, really, you know, so he knows that, you know, how far you're going that day. He's not making you think of the end result. Like, you're not actually, you know, making any progress. You got to get there now. You know, he's just putting you on that journey, and you know, eventually
I think it's taking it day by day. I think the end result is wonderful and grand. And I think painting that picture of where you want to go, I think it's important to know where you want to go.
Yeah, of course.
But thinking that it's going to happen by tomorrow, you're setting yourself up to an unrealistic goal. It really is about, if you want to be successful and you want those moments of victory, put 5 goals together that are attainable in the next, 6 months, and figure out an action plan towards the 5 most important things that you must get done now, and put an action plan and make them attainable. What action steps are you going to do to create that? And I always like to say, put a goal in different areas of your life when it comes to your physical, your emotional, your relationships, your business, your success, your purpose. Like, put a goal there, write it down, write down why, and write down 3 action steps that you're going to take. If it's, I want to have vitality, longevity. Okay. I'm going to wake up. I don't have time during the day. Okay. So I'm going to wake up 1 hour early. I'm going to sacrifice an hour of sleep, and I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to go walking. I'm going to do some form of exercise, and boom, day by day, I'm taking care of myself. If it's with business, all right, I'm going to take an online course. I'm going to set this hour aside. Not going to spend time with friends. I'm going to sacrifice this because I want this. There's the law of sacrifice. You got to sacrifice one thing for the other. As long as it's not your mental wellness and your happiness. That's
right. Exactly. Well, saying that, you finally lost 200 pounds, as stated in the book, and then success just came to you, as you mentioned, the universe, the law of attraction. Whatever you was doing, it just suddenly came to you, and you eventually as I mentioned in the introduction, and all these magazines. You became almost I don't know if it was an overnight, celebrity, but if you're in what's the magazine called? TMZ or TZ?
TMZ.
Yeah, TMZ. I mean, that's huge, being in that magazine. And then Dr. Phil, so that's huge. Model, you become a model. And
coming into radio and makeup artist, I'm telling you, like, I've walked so many businesses, having a tire company, owning a towing company, going into modeling, and just really finding myself and reinventing myself constantly working, working and becoming better, and becoming a better human being, just because having strong values. But it doesn't happen overnight. Like they say, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. It does not happen overnight. This is really about walking with authenticity, being honest, taking personal responsibility, because it's your life, your responsibility. You're the creator. You're the creator of your own life story. And, with that, the opportunities that I knocked on, I was very clear in the direction that I wanted to get, but it took so many years and so many moments of failure that was redirecting me constantly. A door would close, a window would open, a window would close, a door would open. And it was constantly about doing the work, knocking on the doors, becoming better. And throughout the process, reading, listening to powerful podcasts, educating myself, connecting with people that were inspirational and influential, and figuring out, what are they doing to create success? What is happiness to them? And then making my own definition of happiness and success for myself, and writing it out, to having an action plan. So I think discipline and being a visionary and perseverance and a humble heart make a huge difference in your life. They really do. You have purpose. As long as you're breathing, you have your own purpose, your own mission, and it's about finding it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, obviously your journey, when you look at yourself as a person from the first time, and I mean, obviously you wrote this book now called The Girl with
The girl with self-esteem issues.
Yeah, there was self-esteem issues, and many things happen in your journey. But where did you notice it changing, and then you didn't have self-esteem issues, or no, people could still have it, or even
Yeah,
I think how you deal with it.
Yeah, you know what? I think we all have self-esteem issues. We all have triggers. It's acknowledging them and understanding your triggers and working through them and just understanding what's a trigger. And when you feel that you're going through a trigger, I think it's being vulnerable and open enough and honest with yourself and saying, I have some inner work to do. I still have some inner healing, but declaring my voice is powerful. I am worthy. I have everything that I need to accomplish my dreams. I'm lovable. I'm beautiful. I am a unique creation of God. When you speak life into your present and to your future, it changes your psychology. When you change your state, you listen to great music, you create movement in your life. You're working on momentum, and it takes time. You constantly are connecting the dots. You're making yourself better. You're in a season of self-discovery. You become happier. And when you become happier, become a better human being, a better mother, better lover, a better husband and wife, a better entrepreneur. You just become a life seeker. You're constantly a student, learning and becoming more and more. But this book for me really is about being an invitation. Yeah. An invitation that if you've ever felt ugly, unworthy, isolated, rejected, fat, insecure, you've doubted yourself, you failed at marriages, you failed at business, at parenting, I'm with you. I know what that feels like. And the purpose of this book is sharing the life lessons that I learned and how I obtain the personal growth and the success and what those lessons taught me and the compassion that it's brought into my life and the gratitude, walking with gratitude for everything that's happened and the inner healing, the most important part, the inner healing, being able to forgive without receiving that apology and moving on. Yeah.
Well, with that, what you're saying there, what can be learned from being able to forgive and let go of the hurt from your past?
Forgiveness is a personal journey, and the forgiveness, you're giving it not to the other person, but it's something to help you heal, because you could spend in life years and years waiting for an apology that you might never get. And then that's years of your life spent while that other person's like living their life. And I think forgiveness comes to a place where you could feel the pain, cry, dry your tears and get up and just say, I forgive you and I forgive myself. I love you and I let you go. And the more you breathe it, the more you say it, and the more you act from it. Every single time that trigger comes up, every time that you start crying, let your spirit cleanse. But say that out loud and you will know how much better. And the moment you could talk about that, when you no longer cry, you know that you've done the inner work and you're healing.
Fantastic. Well, before you go, tell everyone where they can find your book. Is it available everywhere? Are you doing...
Yes, it's available wherever you buy your books. Barnes & Noble, Target, Amazon. RosieMercado.com is my personal website. You could reach out to me on all social media. I respond to all messages. It's at Rosie Mercado. You could purchase my book, The Girl with Self-Esteem Issues, La Latina con Baja Autoestima, in English and in Spanish. It's about life lessons, takeaways, maximum growth, happiness, and finding yourself and finding that your voice matters. And you can listen to my podcast, The Girl with Self-Esteem Issues, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Oh, so you're a fellow podcaster as well.
I am.
Okay. Well, I've done at least 3 things you've done then: coaching, author, and podcaster. So that's fantastic. And obviously, I'm sure, your life can only get better. So Rosie Mercado, thanks very much for coming on the Dave Palmer Show and sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening. And remember, if you want to support what we do, then share, subscribe, and leave a review over on ratethispodcast.com/rate and follow the simple instructions. Well, that's all for now, but I'll see you in the next episode of The Dave Palmer Show.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.